There's a lot of gold mining in Alaska. Yeah, we're actually just across the border on the Yukon side, so it's actually in Canada where we're at, right in the Yukon.
Gold mining may seem like an 18th century affair, but as the Discovery Channel's hit series Gold Rush shows, it's still very much alive and kicking today. Reality TV star and respected miner Parker Schnabel has discovered gold, in an exciting development that will surely go down in history as a landmark moment. 5 minutes ago, Parker sent shockwaves through the mining world and beyond when he unearthed the largest gold deposit ever recorded. This historic discovery has the potential to cement Parker's status as a gold mining legend and rewrite the book on the subject. Against such seemingly insurmountable odds, how did Parker accomplish this remarkable feat? In this gripping and dramatic tale, we follow Parker Schnabel as he unearths the largest gold deposit ever found. And do you know Parker Schnabel? Leave an A in the comments if you do. Record-breaking gold mine. Parker Schnabel is no stranger to anyone who has followed his gold mining journey. This is not his first battle, and anyone who has seen Parker face challenges will know that he is not one to back down from any hardship. As Parker stands before the final cut, the most valuable piece of land he and his crew have ever mined, the sheer tension and determination within him explode into a scream that echoes throughout the quarry. It is not just a scream of tension, but the outburst of a leader pushing his people beyond their limits to achieve their ultimate goal. In that moment, Parker shows the true character of a leader. He loudly demands cash from his crew, emphasizing that they need it to buy the prized land they have been coveting in Alaska. This is more than a financial decision. It is a survival strategy in the harsh world of gold mining. Parker knew that without the right investment in this land, all their hard work would be for nothing. His words, "Let's do this," were not just a command, but a call to action, expressing the urgency and determination of a man who knew what was at stake. When was the last time you fantasized about finding the richest gold mine in the world? For Parker, that dream never faded. He didn't just dream it, he lived it, fought for it, and woke up every day to realize it. The mine he was mining was more than a precious resource. It was a symbol of all the effort, sacrifice, and desire Parker had poured into his career. For him, discovering the world's largest gold mine is not only a personal achievement, but also a legacy he wants to leave to future generations, a testament to his perseverance and courage in pursuing big dreams. Parker Schnabel accomplished what many believed was impossible, leaving a lasting mark on gold mining history. Just 5 minutes before the news broke, Parker triumphantly announced that they had found the largest gold mine in history, with 6,988 ounces of gold in their possession, a staggering number that left many in awe and admiration. But the biggest question remained, how did Parker achieve such a revolutionary feat? And how will this discovery impact the future of gold mining, as it scales beyond anything previously known? Parker Schnabel is not one to be deterred by adversity, and his path to success was no exception. At the Yukon mining operation, where all eyes were on Parker and his team, his trusted right-hand man, Mitch Blaschka, encountered a formidable opponent. The terrain and harsh natural conditions, combined with the pressure of the set target, made things more challenging than ever. Mitch, with his experience and determination, knew that to achieve their goal of extracting 1,000 ounces of gold from this area, they would have to dig deeper and mine more thoroughly than ever before. This land was not an easy place to achieve success, but Mitch also knew that every effort was worth the potential they were pursuing. The close cooperation between Parker and Mitch created a strong team where all members worked together to overcome the most difficult challenges. They had pinned their hopes on the old waste piles, believing that they still contained a significant amount of value. These quarries, though mined, were still a potential resource that they could not ignore. Therefore, they decided to store them for a long time, waiting for the right opportunity to mine them again. For Mitch, this was not just a simple job, but an ambitious task, a formula that he had to overcome at all costs. He was given the important task of mining 90 acres, a huge and unprecedented amount of money in a single mining season. This goal was not simply to break a record, but also to prove his ability and determination in a deeply specialized industry. The pressure was on Mitch as he considered how to complete the task at hand. Each day was filled with a sense of dread and anxiety about the risks and difficulties that lay ahead. The complex terrain, the amount of work to be done, and the limited time frame made Mitch's every thought heavy, filled with ribbons of doubt about whether he could complete this task. The problem was further complicated by the enormous amount of material that needed to be excavated, while the time available for this work was running out. Despite the numerous difficulties, Mitch never wavered in his determination. The desire for a big gold harvest and the possibility of making his name in history became a strong driving force that pushed him forward. Parker's team, with unrelenting efforts, mined 65 of the 90 acres, giving Mitch a glimmer of hope of achieving the challenging goal. The team's extraordinary efforts have yielded incredible results with nearly 52,000 ounces of gold collected, a huge number that demonstrates the scale and difficulty of the project. However, the mission is not over yet. While the team has achieved significant success, they still face a huge challenge ahead. There are still 30 acres left to mine, and time is becoming a formidable opponent. As the mining season draws to a close, the pressure is on to complete the unfinished work. Every moment is filled with anxiety, creating a tense atmosphere throughout the entire crew. A big question begins to appear, haunting the minds of every member of the team. Is this the big turning point, signaling a drastic change in the gold mining industry? Their success is not just a gold medal, but could mark a new era for the industry, opening up new opportunities and challenges in the future. The team's determination and efforts are tested not only by the huge workload, but also by the increasing expectations and pressure, making every step meaningful and challenging. Do you know anything about celebrity Parker Schnabel's past, before we get to how he found the biggest gold mine ever? The man hiding behind the quarry. Parker Schnabel's astonishing wealth is a result of his fame as a reality TV star, especially for his role in the Discovery Channel smash series Gold Rush. Childhood and life. Despite coming from a long line of miners, Parker has become famous for his dogged persistence and extraordinary abilities in the gold mining business. Parker is really in his late 50s or early 60s, even though his accomplishments and longevity in the mining industry lead one to believe otherwise. What makes Parker Schnabel so remarkable is that he is only 29 years old. Having been born on July 26, 1994, his adventure started in Haines, Alaska, at an early age when he began working at a major nugget mine owned by his family. Parker Schnabel, who is 6 feet tall, exudes an air of authority in all of his media appearances. He gives off the impression of being a resolute and industrious miner thanks to his stature and rough exterior. Parker Schnabel's audacious decision to establish his mining firm with his college savings demonstrated his entrepreneurial energy and commitment to the industry. He had originally planned to major in something scholarly, but he soon changed his mind after realizing that mining was where his heart truly belonged. He was so intent on becoming famous that he put all of his savings into starting his mining firm. My mom hated the idea of me not going to college ever since I met Tony Beets and went to the Yukon, Parker said. The choice marked a watershed moment in Parker's professional journey. If he took charge of his mining enterprise, he might put his expertise and abilities to better use. He made a tidy profit once his risk paid off, and he even made back his original investment. As time has passed, Parker has gone from being a mining prodigy as a teenager to becoming one of the industry's most prominent figures. His profession and financial position are a testament to his amazing achievement, which he accomplished at a young age. He has a huge fan base and substantial wealth because of his dogged determination and commercial skill. Gold Rush provides extensive coverage of Parker's career, but he prefers to keep his private life out of the spotlight. His relationship status is still up for debate, but Schnabel is still single. Most intriguingly, despite the show's portrayal of Parker Schnabel as coming from a low-income family, he is wealthy. This is one of the hidden truths behind the Gold Rush. Due to his achievements in the gold mining sector, his net worth is believed to be about $10 million. The gold mining enterprises that Parker runs are the main source of his fortune. He has reliably turned out substantial quantities of gold. His gold haul was worth more than $15 million when he was just 24 years old. From Guyana and Papua New Guinea to the Klondike Gold Rush's renowned Chilkoot Pass, his mining experiences have brought him all over the globe. Parker makes a considerable amount of money from his appearances on Gold Rush and his spin-off series, Parker's Trail. His compensation from gold mining is also undisclosed. Through sponsorships and product sale, the program offers him a constant source of income while also giving him a stage to demonstrate his abilities. Parker Schnabel has found the largest gold mine ever recorded, and Gold Rush is now airing in its 14th season on Discovery. Given the magnitude of the find, one may reasonably ask, how did he go about finding the largest gold mine ever? Challenge the clock and the machine. The team was in an exciting race against the clock to discover the mysteries of this gold-rich area at Parker Schnabel's mining operation, and the enthusiasm was contagious. Slucifer, a vital sluicing equipment in Parker Schnabel's operation, is at the center of their endeavors. Nearly 67% of the payback reduction has been completed, marking a key milestone. Lucifer has significantly increased their overall gold harvest, making it a very successful endeavor, and they are already 2/3 through this lucrative cut. Day and night, this dependable machine grinds high-grade pay dirt to extract the most gold possible. It runs continuously. The crew is eagerly anticipating the outcome of this prospective cut, as its rigorous operation has produced outstanding results. With each passing pay dirt that Slucifer turns over, the excitement grows, and the prospect of a record-breaking gold harvest takes center stage. At the same time, the massive 24-acre runway cut has only recently been started by Big Red, another vital wash facility. This cut is a major and difficult part of their mining operation. The runway cut is an enormous endeavor, as Mitch Blesk points out, and they reflect on how tough their mission is. They are handling twice as much material as is typically transported to the wash facilities. Because the runway cut is split into two sections, one wet and one dry, this extra volume poses a significant issue. The operation of the wash facilities is already complicated due to the ever-changing circumstances, which further make it impossible to maintain a regular flow of material. The most recent team member, Liam Pucalla, plays a pivotal role in providing Big Red with food during all these complications. Liam has to deal with less efficiency because of bad weather, which makes the material wetter and harder to process. He also has to put in more work to dry it properly. The difficulties of drying out the material, an essential part of their process, are brought to light by Liam. An unforeseen problem emerges at the same moment the team believes they have settled into a routine. Important to remove big stones. As the grizzly bars start to break down and wander out of place, Liam calls Mitch immediately, expressing his anxiety and emphasizing the seriousness of the situation. Knowing that any delay may severely affect their progress, Mitch halts all activities to fix the fault. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, Mitch found that the grizzly bars were badly bent and misaligned from the 5 months of intensive use during the examination. As soon as he realized the situation was critical, he summoned Ty, a seasoned co-worker renowned for his mechanical expertise, to help with the repairs. They conducted a thorough inspection of the machinery as a team and discovered further problems. A key hinge had fallen away from the hopper, and the severely warped frame holding the bars had put an end to operations. The thorough examination exposed the seriousness of the damage, highlighting the urgent need for repairs so they can continue working productively on their gold mining projects. To minimize downtime and maximize output in their gold mining business, Ty and Mitch realized they had to move fast to repair or replace the impacted parts. The seriousness of the damage was clear. They briefly shut down Big Red due to this major situation, which intensified the strain on the crew. Ty and Mitch came up with a strategy to fix the grizzly bars. Reshaping the frame, reattaching the hinge bracket, and welding a plate for extra reinforcement were their quick solutions. Nevertheless, working with the heavy, broken metal was a tedious ordeal. Mitch finished fixing it after 6 long hours. When Big Red roared to life again, the team could finally get back to work. Now that the grizzly bars are back in working order, they anticipate that the repair will last until the end of the year. However, they did see the importance of making changes in the future to avoid these kinds of problems, reducing equipment stress and achieving a more controlled material flow. They altered the feeder's speed to prevent possible difficulties. They ran both wash facilities at full capacity and even sent some of the material to Lucifer. This calculated action ensures that no one piece of machinery is overloaded. Despite the vital nature of this reversal, the main question persisted as they proceeded. Can they reach their ambitious season goals with these adjustments? Testing boundaries when faced with harsh situations. With the season almost over, the team was still fired up to make the most of what was left and accomplish all of their goals. The difficult, time-consuming, and physically taxing nature of their activities was something Mitch pointed out as one of their major obstacles. Even though sluicing the material was costly, time-consuming, and demanding on the team, he stressed its necessity, saying that failing to do so would lead to the material and important opportunities being lost. Working under such intense strain challenged the team's resiliency and resolve. To address the present problem, Parker Schnabel later called a team meeting. They discussed current issues, such as a near disaster with a rock truck that nearly went down into the lake, highlighting the dangers and uncertainty of their line of work. Significantly, an amazing 60 acres had already been mined by Parker Schnabel's Yukon workforce, producing 5,732 ounces of gold. Their perseverance and hard effort were rewarded with this enormous harvest. But the season was still ongoing. The squad was curious to see how much more gold Big Red could add to their total, even if it was running slower than usual because of maintenance. After that, they monitored Big Red's production very precisely, and the findings were promising. The team was elated when the first run produced around 277, 5 ounces of gold. They were able to get closer to their end objective thanks to this substantial contribution. Their excitement level soared when a colleague of theirs processed further material, successfully extracting 342, 8 ounces of gold. Working together, they demonstrated how well their operations worked, even under trying conditions. To optimize gold recovery, the team's approach of moving extra pay dirt from Big Red to Slucifer worked. The crew's combined efforts yielded an incredible 620 ounces of gold, valued at an astounding $1 million, thanks to further donations from Big Red and Slucifer. Thanks to their perseverance, flexibility, and careful preparation, they were able to make significant progress towards their season goals. I can't help but worry about how they'll keep this momentum going while they celebrate Big Red's big successes and try to optimize profits from Slucifer. As they continue to test the boundaries of their business, what more obstacles may they face? Watch on to discover the answer. The challenges. Dispute over the Indian River land claims. On the following day, there was a whirlwind of activity at Parker Schnabel's Indian River claim as Mitch Blaschka fought to finish the season by sluicing a massive pile of pay dirt. There was an enormous need to keep Big Red and Slucifer running, as they were both wash facilities that ran around the clock. To maintain a steady supply of feed, Mitch moved a green crew member from rock truck driver to loader operator. The necessity of keeping a good attitude to keep the material moving effectively was highlighted by Mitch, who noticed that the crew member had a fantastic attitude. However, unexpected problems arose as a result of the rigorous pace. Out of nowhere, Big Red had some mechanical issues, which resulted in a shutdown. Parker had departed for Alaska and was only just returned when this breakdown happened, putting the squad in an extremely dangerous position. Big Red's breakdown caused a halt to the gold processing operation. Resolving the situation and reviving Big Red must be done immediately. Mitch and crew member Tyson were confronted with the aftermath of Big Red's shutdown at Parker's airstrip claim. The halt was brought about by the discovery of boulders in the sluice runs by another crew member, Evans, because rocks in the sluice runs suggest a major issue. This finding caused severe alarm. After a quick evaluation, Mitch concluded that the screen had probably blown out. There was no mistaking the serious compromise to Big Red's screen. Mitch was well aware of the implications. He identified a blown-out screen with a large hole by pointing out the dispersed rocks as he examined the damage. Mitch realized that immediate action was required to fix or replace the screen, since the pebble's size indicated the extent of the damage. Realizing how critical the issue was, the crew wasted no time getting to work. With Big Red down, all income and gold were stopped in their tracks, and every second was crucial. Quickly resolving the problem, Mitch and his crew had the machine back up and running, and gold production picked back up where it left off. A large hole in the screen would be required to allow rocks of this size to flow through. Massive rocks, as Mitch pointed out, block the sluice lines, preventing the effective collection of gold. There is a substantial loss of possible gold recovery due to the boulders that obstruct the flow and settling of gold. Pebbles littered the sluice passages, and the screen bore the marks of severe abuse. Instead of avoiding the problem, Mitch Blaska chose to replace the screen deck and handpick the rocks from the sluice lines. Sharp and aggressive pebbles, infamously harmful to screens, were the materials they were presently processing. The crew and Mitch were cognizant of the fact that these abrasive materials were constantly moving through the wash plant for several hours every day. As soon as Mitch and Tyson realized how serious the damage was, they set out to diagnose and repair the screen. They had to remove the old, damaged screen and replace it quickly so the repair wouldn't take too long. To avoid such blowouts, it was critical to secure the new screen properly, to get Big Red running again. The tedious and labor-intensive repair process was necessary. The screen deck problem was ultimately fixed after everyone pitched in. The issue was detected by Evan's watchful eyes, who also stopped any further material from building up in the sluice lines. Without intervention, the rocks would have been cleaned without obtaining any gold, leading to labor waste. A possibly expensive setback was averted because of Evan's astute assessment. When Parker Schnabel returned to the scene, though, the tension was obvious. What would his evaluation of the scenario be? Was Big Red back up and running after the repair? Everything is up to Big Red. As soon as Parker Schnabel got back from Alaska, he called a team gathering to express his gratitude for everyone's efforts. He gave an unusual birthday present, an ashtray crafted from real gold, to a teammate as a token of his appreciation. The receiver was touched, and he or she expressed surprise, gratitude, and an appreciation for the ashtray's meaning. The ashtray, which was valued at almost $120 and weighed 6.95 ounces, represented the team's achievements. The crew was eager to witness the fruits of their labor after all their hard work. After processing, 51.6 oz of the runway cut gold, which is valued at more than $90,000, was obtained. But if Big Red could run at full steam for a week, it could produce $500,000 worth of gold, which would be a huge increase in revenue. The most recent cleanup produced an astounding 210 ounces of dirt from the repayment cut, which Slucifer had been diligently digesting. Their overall weight increased to 3.6 ounces, which is equivalent to almost $600,000. Everyone on the squad was looking forward to seeing how all their hard work and strategic planning would pay off. We must proceed. While traveling to his claims in Alaska, Parker Schnabel turned his attention from the Yukon claim to Fred Lewis's cut. Although he spends time in both Alaska and the Yukon, Parker said that his major interests make him spend more time in Alaska. But he was worried about the results in Alaska, pointing to difficult weather and other problems. When Fred reached his mining site, which was halfway between Fairbanks and Dawson, he went up to Parker and asked for help with his wash plant. Like Parker's Yukon operation, Fred disclosed he was having problems. Surprised to see little more than a string of rudimentary screens dividing pebbles from pay dirt, Parker examined Fred's arrangement. Alternatively, only this season, Parker had put around $100,000 into his company's sophisticated screening. Quality equipment and regular maintenance are of the utmost significance in the mining business, as this striking difference demonstrates. 3 weeks before, with Big Red, Parker recalled a comparable problem that his team had. The sluice lines were obstructed by enormous pebbles that managed to evade the ancient and worn shaker deck screens that were designed to separate gold-rich material from big boulders. The recovery was greatly affected since this obstructed the flow of water and made it impossible for the riffles to capture the gold. Parker emphasized the importance of the wash plant in the mining process by saying that even a small amount of gold may be washed away by rocks. The success of the plant, he said, will determine the fate of his entire season. Parker was let down that Fred hadn't made facility maintenance a top priority. After all, ignoring such crucial machinery might lead to huge losses in gold production. The delivery job. After a few weeks, the crew had the difficult job of moving the completely built wash unit. As the season came to a close, dismantling and reassembling the facilities was out of the question. Small inputs were amplified throughout the plant's structure, causing the shakers to vibrate strongly as they started the motion, and the sluice to run. The plant's stability and safety during transportation to the runway built earlier in the season depended on the pilot's utmost prudence. This runway has grown to be an essential component of their operating strategy, having first served as a vital gateway for planes landing in the area. Since there was no flight schedule or method to contact approaching flights, Tyson stepped up to the plate as a spotter, making sure the wash plant wouldn't block the runway and endanger the planes. Carefully guiding the wash plant across the runway, the crew skillfully maneuvered through a situation they had never imagined using again. Although they had no plans to return to the site after their last big project, the runway ended up being crucial for the relocation of their enormous facilities. As they made their way around, the group thought about how their mining operation had taken a surprising turn, as if the incredibly difficult endeavor needed more stress. Another aircraft unexpectedly approached during this high-stakes delivery as a flight flew overhead, headed toward Eureka. Additional difficulties were caused by Slucifer, which required the road to be widened to fit its enormous 32-foot wingspan. At last, Mitch and Tyson had reached the Panama Canal, the site of the most difficult portion of the relocation, hoisting the enormous wash plant onto its new platform. Knowing full well the huge weight of the wash plant and the possible strain it may put on their equipment, Mitch moved with extreme caution. To emphasize the gravity of their undertaking, the transporter moaned beneath the weight of Slucifer. To finish, I placed the Slucifer on the pad with great care and then turned it 90 degrees to be sure it was ready to go. A sense of relief and joy washed over the squad as this crucial relocation signified the final significant sluice change of the year. Their careful preparation and dogged persistence had at last yielded results. After the wash plant was firmly installed, the crew was prepared to connect the 12-ton superstacker, fill the plant with dirt, and begin operations. Exuberantly discussing the importance of the first pay dirt scoop from the Panama Canal coming through Slucifer, Mitch couldn't contain his excitement, hoping for a fruitful mining season ahead. The team, boosted by pride and eagerness, got ready to process the pay dirt from their new position. For Parker and his team, it has been an excellent season thus far. The Yukon crew of Parker remarked on their progress as the season went on. They failed to reach last year's remarkable total of 8,300 ounces of gold, with approximately 6,000 ounces gathered thus far. Parker thinks the season will end well. With a chuckle, Parker Schnabel remembers a terrifying event. With a touch of humor, Parker recounts a terrifying occurrence in which an aircraft was gliding across a runway and almost crashed into their important wash facility, Slucifer. After being captivated by the narrative, his team bursts into laughter as Parker playfully wonders, who gets to say what happens when you move a wash plant across the runway? As a group, they burst out laughing as they realize how ridiculous the scenario is and how many obstacles they've encountered on their journey to get gold. The monotony of their gold mining tasks is temporarily alleviated by their laughing. 3 consecutive mining cuttings, including Slucifer's first run in the Panama Canal, have produced encouraging early gold outputs, which has elevated the enthusiasm of the team even more. While cutting Big Red's runway, they recovered 300 oz of gold, which is worth more than $500,000. Then, 109 ounces, or about 190,000 pounds, of Slucifer's leftover gold from the payback cut. Finally, 159 ounces of gold was Slucifer's first haul from the Panama Canal cut. The fact that they have made over $200,000 in gold in only 3 days of sluicing has only increased their excitement for the rest of the season. The significance of their physical presence was emphasized by Mitch the next day, when he reiterated the need to quickly resolve issues and get everything back to normal. An all-nighter was his plan for the crew, as he was anxious to finish the last stretch of work. During the last push, Mitch and Tyson drove Big Red into the cold night. To keep the sluices from freezing while using 2 turbos, Chris used tarps to insulate them. With temps dropping to 14 degrees, they were on the last lap by 1 a.m., but another member of the team had trouble feeding because of a clog, which was probably brought on by the chilly temperature. However, the problem was successfully resolved. At the end of the race, Parker and his team get together to go over the results. With this past week's delivery, Parker hoped to break last year's record of almost 8,000 ounces of gold. The runway cut was first processed, yielding 388, 8 ounces with a value of more than $650,000. The next thing they knew, they found 248 ounces worth more than $400,000 in the Panama Canal. With a weekly total of about 650 ounces, they have collected over 8,000 ounces this season, which is a little over 200 ounces less than last year. Still, they have around $14 million worth of gold. Parker Schnabel and his crew reflected on the challenges they had conquered and the successes they had as they ended another exciting season of gold mining. Despite all the obstacles and unanticipated problems, they managed to move their wash plant, Slucifer, and get a lot of gold out of the ground. Their extraordinary season is a result of their persistence, collaboration, and devotion. Each site had its own set of problems, but the team's persistent effort and devotion paid out in the end, whether it was the difficult runway cut or the rewarding Panama Canal. Thanks to their doggedness and cooperation, they achieved remarkable outcomes, making this season one for the record books. Much obliged for your time. Our next video will be up soon.